There is a place where suffering begins, not in the body, not in the circumstances, but in the soul, when you realize that comfort has become your prison and mediocrity your jailer. You wake up, you eat, you coast, you scroll, you numb, and somewhere deep inside, beneath the layers of distraction and denial, you hear it, that whisper that haunts every human heart. Is this all there is? The sadness comes like fog. Depression settles like dust on everything you touch. Because when you're not moving, when you're not growing, when you're not suffering for something greater than yourself, you feel it, that hollow ache of a life unlived. And that's when most people reach for another comfort, another escape, another excuse. But not you, not anymore. Because you're beginning to understand something that the world has forgotten. To grow, you must suffer, not just physical pain, not just inconvenience, but the deep, soul-shaping suffering that comes when you step out of your comfort zone and into the wilderness where God does his deepest work. Jesus knew this. He walked this. He embodied this truth so completely that his very life became the map for every human journey worth taking. Think about it. The Son of God, infinite power, limitless authority, chose suffering. He chose the desert over the palace, the cross over the crown, the nails over the throne. Why? Because suffering is the only path to transformation. You cannot become who you were meant to be while staying who you are. You cannot reach your destiny while clinging to your comfort. You cannot carry your cross while sitting on your couch. Right now, in this moment, your family is looking around. They're searching, they're hoping, they're praying for one person to be strong, one person to be the pillar, one person to stand firm when everything else is shaking. Will they find you? Or will they find you hiding, coasting, avoiding the very suffering that would make you strong enough to hold them up? This is the moment. This is the crossroad. This is where your life splits into two paths. The comfortable path that leads to regret and the painful path that leads to purpose. Jesus stood at a crossroads too. In the Garden of Gethsemane, blood and sweat mixing on his face, he looked at the cup of suffering before him and said, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." He felt it, the weight, the dread, the overwhelming burden of what was coming. But then he said the words that changed everything. "Yet not my will, but yours be done." That was the moment. That was the choice. That was when Jesus walked through the door of suffering and into the destiny that would save the world. And he's calling you to do the same, not because he wants you to hurt, but because he wants you to become, to transform, to rise, to be forged in the fire of difficulty into something unbreakable. You see, society has made you weak. Technology has made you soft. Comfort has made you fragile. You have everything you need at your fingertips, and yet you feel empty. Do you think the Spartans had depression? Do you think people in the Stone Age struggled with anxiety? They were too busy surviving, too busy fighting, too busy pushing their bodies and minds to the limit to have time for the mental prisons we build for ourselves. But you have time, you have options, you have comfort, and it's killing you. Jesus didn't promise you comfort. He promised you a cross. Take up your cross daily and follow me, he said. Not once, not when you feel like it. Daily, every single day. The cross, the suffering, the death of who you were, so that who you're meant to be can rise. And here's what most people miss. The cross isn't the end, it's the doorway. Jesus didn't stay on the cross. He went through it. He endured it. He suffered it completely. And then he rose, transformed, victorious, eternal. The same pattern is written into your life. Your suffering isn't meaningless. Your pain isn't random. Your struggles aren't punishment. They're preparation. Every hard moment is sculpting you. Every failure is teaching you. Every setback is redirecting you towards something greater than you can imagine. But only if you don't quit. Most people quit. They feel the first wave of discomfort and they retreat. They encounter the first obstacle and they turn back. They taste suffering and they decide it's not worth it. But you're not most people. You weren't created to be average. You weren't born to blend in. You weren't saved by Jesus Christ to live a mediocre, comfortable, forgettable life. You were created for more, called for more, destined for more. And the only way to get there is through suffering. Think about every great story you've ever heard, every hero you've ever admired, every person who's ever done something worth remembering. What do they all have in common? Suffering, struggle, sacrifice. They all went through hell and came out the other side holding something precious. Character, wisdom, strength, purpose. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before he led Israel out of Egypt. David spent years running from Saul before he became king. Paul was beaten, shipwrecked, imprisoned, and stoned before he wrote most of the New Testament. And Jesus endured the cross before he wore the crown. There is no shortcut, no hack, no easy way, no 6-minute abs version of greatness. You have to suffer, you have to struggle, you have to push through the pain, the doubt, the fear, the exhaustion, the criticism, the loneliness, the setbacks, and the failures. But here's the beautiful truth. You're not doing it alone. Jesus isn't asking you to carry a cross he didn't carry first. He's not calling you to suffer without him. He's walking beside you, behind you, in front of you, within you. Every step you take in faith, he's there. Every moment you choose the hard path, he's strengthening you. Every time you refuse to quit, his power is flowing through you. My grace is sufficient for you, he said, for my power is made perfectness. Do you understand what that means? Your weakness isn't a disqualification. It's the doorway to his strength. Your inability is the invitation for his ability. Your suffering is the space where his glory shows up. But you have to show up too. You have to step into the arena. You have to pick up the cross. You have to embrace the struggle. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop looking for the perfect moment. Stop hoping it will get easier. It won't. And that's the point. The goal isn't for life to get easier. The goal is for you to get stronger, more resilient, more faithful, more like Christ. And the only way that happens is through suffering. So what are you going to do right now, today, this moment? What choice are you going to make? Are you going to stay in your comfort zone, slowly dying inside, watching your potential rot away while you scroll and eat and numb yourself into oblivion? Or are you going to get up at 4 a.m. and go for a run? Are you going to do the hard thing? Are you going to have the difficult conversation? Are you going to push past the fear and the doubt and the excuses? Are you going to pick up your cross and follow Jesus? Because here's the truth that changes everything. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. You know what you need to do. Deep down, beneath all the rationalizations and justifications, you know, you've always known. That relationship you need to repair, that addiction you need to break, that dream you need to chase, that discipline you need to develop, that forgiveness you need to offer, that courage you need to find, you know. And Jesus knows you know, so he's standing at the door, knocking, waiting, inviting, calling you out of the shallow end and into the deep waters where miracles happen. Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest, he says. Not the rest of inactivity, but the rest of purpose. The rest of knowing you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to do, becoming exactly who you're supposed to become. That rest only comes through surrender, through obedience, through suffering. And here's what happens when you finally embrace it. You become unstoppable. Not because you're strong, but because he is. Not because you're capable, but because he's working through. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're connected to the one who does. David Goggins talks about becoming the person who immersed himself in hell and thought about quitting, but found a way to get through it. That's the person everyone is looking for. That's the person your family needs. That's the person the world is desperate to see. But that person is forged in fire, shaped by suffering, built through struggle. And the only way you become that person is by going through it, not around it, not over it, not by avoiding it, or denying it, or numbing it, through it. With Jesus, he's not offering you an easy life. He's offering you a meaningful one, a powerful one, a transformed one, a resurrected one. But resurrection always comes after death. Victory always comes after battle. The crown always comes after the cross. So don't waste the cross. Don't avoid the suffering. Don't run from the struggle. Embrace it. Welcome it. Thank God for it. Because it's not destroying you. It's developing you. It's not breaking you. It's building you. It's not the end. It's the beginning. Every great athlete trains when they're tired. Every successful person pushes when it's uncomfortable. Every person of faith walks when they can't see the end of the road. Can you see your next step? The horse asked the boy in the woods. That's all Jesus is asking you to see. Not the whole journey, not the entire mountain, just the next step, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, step by step, day by day, choice by choice. You're climbing, you're growing, you're being transformed. The person you were last year can't handle what you're facing today, but the person you're becoming will be able to handle what's coming tomorrow. That's the purpose of suffering. To prepare you for glory, to strengthen you for battle, to shape you for destiny. Paul understood this. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all, he wrote from prison. He didn't say, might achieve or could achieve. He said, are achieving, present tense, active, happening right now. Your suffering isn't wasted, it's working. It's producing something eternal in you: character, faith, endurance, hope. And one day, when you're standing on the other side of this struggle, you'll look back and understand. You'll see how every painful moment was necessary, how every hard choice was worth it, how every tear watered the seeds of something beautiful. But that day only comes if you keep going, if you don't quit, if you embrace the suffering instead of running from it. Michael Jordan was cut from his 9th grade basketball. Oprah Winfrey was fired for not being good for television. Walt Disney was told he had no imagination. They all suffered rejection, failure, humiliation, and they all became legends. Why? Because they understood that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. Suffering isn't the enemy of greatness. It's the doorway to it. Jesus proved this on the cross. The moment that looked like the greatest defeat in history became the greatest victory. The darkest hour became the dawn of salvation. The most brutal suffering became the source of eternal life. That's the pattern. That's the promise. That's the hope you can cling to when everything in you wants to quit. Your cross isn't meaningless. Your suffering isn't random. Your pain has purpose. And Jesus is with you in it, through it, beyond it. So pick up your cross. Take the next step. Do the hard thing. Choose the narrow path. Embrace the suffering. Because on the other side of this struggle is the person you've always dreamed of becoming. The life you've always wanted to live. The impact you've always hoped to make. But you can't get there by staying here. You can't grow without suffering. You can't be resurrected without dying. And you can't follow Jesus without taking up your cross. So what's it going to be? Comfort or purpose? Ease or growth? Death by distraction or life through suffering? The choice is yours. It's always been yours. But know this: Jesus is calling. Your destiny is waiting. Your family is watching. Your future is being decided. And the only way forward is through the fire. So walk into it with faith, with courage, with Jesus, because he didn't waste his cross. And neither should you. The suffering you're facing today is preparing you for the glory you'll experience tomorrow. The pain you're enduring now is forging the strength you'll need later. The cross you're carrying is the doorway to your resurrection. Don't quit. Don't turn back. Don't settle for the comfortable death of mediocrity when Jesus is offering you the painful, beautiful, transformative journey of discipleship. Embrace the struggle. Welcome the suffering. Trust the process. Because the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is by going through it. And Jesus has already shown you the way. Now it's your turn to follow. Pick up your cross, take the next step, and watch what God does when you refuse to quit. This is your moment. This is your calling. This is your cross. Don't waste it.